So we're right here at Hard Knot Pass in the Lake District. I'm joined by Holly, who's on the team.
Hello.
So fantastic to have you with us today, Holly. All this week we've been riding the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, and this video is going to be about what we think about it.
Well, I want to thank you for bringing me here because I have never ever ridden anywhere as beautiful as here.
Really?
It is stunning. It is absolutely stunning. The roads here for anyone that rides a bike is, yeah, perfect.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And actually that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here, because actually I think the roads that we've got here kind of actually suits the bikes that these are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they've been tested, gravel, we've had all sorts of tight turns and wildlife and trucks and
It's been pretty interesting. So obviously, look, this isn't the first video that we've done on Royal Enfield, and actually since the idea that they were going to launch these 650s, we've been following the project quite closely actually. I suppose for a number of reasons really. Firstly, that we really like the Royal Enfield brand. It's got that great heritage. Loads of people love them. Obviously the bikes are made in India now, but it's got a massive British history, and I think people really like that. I think secondly, the existing Royal Enfields, you know, we can acknowledge that perhaps they've not quite fit in here in the UK yet, because they probably just haven't got enough power.
Yeah.
And the idea that these 650s, you know, are going to take Royal Enfield into a new place, I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And the third reason probably is that we knew that they were going to be priced really well.
Yeah, the price is incredible. Yeah, to keep all the iconic features and then have that 650 engine now and the price that they're at as well, I think they're going to be really, really popular bikes.
So far this year, the Intercept 650 is the 7th biggest selling bike, which is just incredible, you know, considering that two of those places are for the long-standing bestseller GS 1250 and an Africa Twin.
Okay.
And the rest of them are scooters.
Yeah.
So this bike already out the gate has beat Bonneville, it's beat Street Twin. I mean, that's really quite incredible.
Yeah, they must be really thrilled with that. But it's a perfect starter bike as well. If you're, I mean, and as we're saying about the price, if you're coming off a 125 or coming off a scooter, you just pass your test. Yeah, I think it will make a perfect first bike from a 125, going from that leap, because it doesn't feel like it's a scary leap. They're so easy to ride. Sure. And although it's a 650, it's powerful enough, I think, but it hasn't got that kind of scary feel about it. I think they're very, very rideable. And for women as well, I think they're going to be really popular. The
mantra for this bike, or at least the marketing pitch, is easy like Sunday morning, right?
Yeah, totally agree with that.
You agree with that?
Yeah. I think that's exactly how I felt on that bike today, especially in the sunshine, riding these kinds of roads. It puts you in this great kind of chilled zone, and yeah, they're just so easy to manoeuvre around the corners, and yeah, you feel very relaxed, and yeah, you don't have to wrestle with it, you know, it just does what you tell it.
At the same time as having this bike, we've also had the Continental GT 650 as well, which we're going to be doing a separate piece on, so you know, check that piece out, it'll be coming very soon. So there's a few options available in the Intercept 650. This one is actually the Glitter and Dust, is the most expensive one in the range. Of course, it's the press bike, it would be, I'm sure. So this one is actually retailing at $5,999. They do start off at $5,500 if you want some of the different ones. They've got some funky names for all the different colours, which is quite interesting. Mark III, for example, is actually based on the designer. Mark, who's been in one of our other pieces. So yeah, they've all got quirky little names. It's quite cool actually. Glitter and Dust, I quite like this.
Yeah.
It looks great, doesn't it?
Absolutely love it. Yeah, love it. I love that tank, and actually the emblem on there as well.
I think something that always surprises me, and we've rode a few Royal Enfields, is the looks and how much people really like them.
There's just a lot of respect behind them, and people do really appreciate them.
If you were to buy this bike, you know, you're going to experience that. You're going to, you know, and if you'd like a bike that people are going to stop you and go, "Hey, nice bike, mate," you know, you're definitely going to get some of that action. I mean, in fact, so much so, when I first got it the other day, for whatever reason, pretty much the first thing I did was went to the gym on it, and I parked it outside. Anyway, I'm in the gym. I'm doing hamstring curls, right? So I've got my face down, I've got my earphones on, I'm watching a film, and a guy was so sort of encouraged to tell me, I feel this tap on my shoulder, and it's this old guy in the gym, and he says, "Hey, I've just got to interrupt you. That's your bike outside, isn't it?" I says, "Yeah," and he said, "It is stunning. Tell me all about it." And it just struck up a conversation.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting.
Yeah. I think they look like that they've almost had a lot of work done to them,
Yes.
a lot of customization done to them when they're, they come looking like that. So that's something really cool about them as well.
And the fit and finish is good as well. You know, I think it doesn't come across like a $5,500, $6,000 bike. You know, people have been really pleased with it, and I've talked to a few Bonnie owners, and they've been really impressed with it as well. They're like, "Wow, this is like really good."
Yeah.
So specifically on the fit and finish, I think the paint job looks really good. I think the tank looks really good. You know, there's these little like CNC bits in different areas on the bike I think look really good. I love the spoked wheels.
Yeah.
Sort of screams, quality really.
Yeah, it does. I don't think there's anything else on the market for that value for money in motorcycles at all.
Sure, and you know what? It even comes with its own toolkit.
Which
is great, yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. It's cool. So these little side parts come out, and you can get into the tool section.
Wow.
Which is cool because actually that type of mirrors, especially on a twin, because there's a little bit of vibrations and stuff, they do work the way loose. And the last couple of bikes we've had, we had an R9T that had that type of mirror, and they work loose. Previous to that, we had a Motor Guzzi, and those mirrors work loose. And of course, you're in the middle of the Lake District, you've got no toolkit, you look for one, there isn't one, and you've got a wonky mirror the rest of the ride, whereas this now has got its own toolkit. Okay, so obviously a massive part of these new bikes is the brand new engine that they put in it, the 650 Twin.
Yeah.
Massive development for Royal Enfield, and obviously takes the brand into a different place it's not been before. 47 horsepower, 52 newton meters of torque, parallel twin. I think it's really nice. Yeah,
really nice. And we were saying as well how much you can get out of each gear as well. You can really, there's a real nice long ratio between each gear, and it makes the bike really, really rideable, and really easy to manage as well. You don't feel like you're continuously tapping up, tapping down. No. It's been quite forgiving with me today. I've been doing some sort of roundabouts and things in third. Sometimes you think, well, am I in fourth? And it does what it's told.
It does.
Yeah.
It's very, very smooth. So I totally agree. If you're in the wrong gear, it's not like some of their singles where they just kind of like, chug 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 chug. It's got torque right the way through the rev range. I would say. I think it encourages you to hoon it around a bit. I've used absolutely every single pony that's in that bike. I think if I was nitpicking, I'd say that sixth could be a bit longer. I think when you're sort of cruising at 85-ish, you're at 5,500 revs, which is only another 1,500 away from redline, so it really is quite you're bumping up there, and I can see why they've done that, because it just means that there's power available right the way through. But I just think it could be that touch longer, but that's just me nitpicking. It's
a really, really smooth running bike. There's no sort of lumps and bumps to it. There's not a lot of vibration, is there, either?
No, really smooth.
Yeah, really, really smooth. So, yeah, I actually think it's fantastic, and I've really enjoyed riding it today. I mean, obviously you've ridden, I haven't ridden Royal Enfield before, but you have. So how does it compare to their previous?
I mean, it's night and day, really. I mean, this is much more of a modern engine, totally. I mean, it's a much more of a modern bike.
Yeah.
It's still is classic motorcycle. I mean, you've got no electronic aids, you've got no traction control, anything like that. So a lot of the new bikes that are coming out, even some of the Triumph models, have those type of things. This one doesn't, and I think actually people are going to like that a lot of the time, because it is, it's a proper motorcycle.
Yeah.
But it's got a great engine. It's got I think good torque right throughout the rev range. Actually encourages you to really give it some. It's a lovely bike to ride. Obviously it depends what you're used to, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're used to a 883.
Yeah, and you're used to something faster.
Mine's a little bit faster.
So both coming from very different angles.
Sure.
But it's good that you can still appreciate it as a bike, even though you're used to something quite a lot faster.
Totally, and it's a different riding style. I mean, the bike that I ride, I've just got into this sort of like mentality, and it's just like head down, wallop.
Well, I've seen you doing that today on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that, you know, if you ride that a sports bike, that becomes your world. Is you know, is head down, wallop, and you know, let's go for it, son. It is easy, and it's lovely to ride this type of road on a sunny day. It's just easy, and you know, following you on the other bike, I can totally, you know, buy into what this bike is.
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't think it is. That would be a perfect kind of commuter bike. I don't think it is just. I mean, I would feel comfortable doing some distance on that as well. I don't know about you, but I would feel happy.
Oh, totally.
That would serve really well in like a long trip or a few days away or something like that. It would be an ideal commuter, but I think it would stand up to that as well, depending on what people are looking for from a bike.
While we're finishing off about the engine, I have to say I really like the exhaust.
Yeah.
About it, I think you know, this is probably one of the only bikes that I would, at the moment, in terms of new bikes, would say I wouldn't replace the exhaust.
No. There's no need to. It makes a nice sound and it serves the bike really well as it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That being said, I bet we'll see some great customs of these.
Oh yeah.
Out.
Well, there's already been some. I mean, and they just look fantastic.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. But I really like them, and especially from behind, they look really, really good. So obviously, a big part of us doing these tests is not only from the enjoyment of riding these bikes, but also testing the Nox gear at the same time. It's just been fantastic. I mean, today it's been beautiful.
What was it, 16, 17 degrees?
Something like that.
Yeah.
So
you've been in your t-shirt and your Urban Pro, and I've had this on underneath mine, my Cold Killers, and then I've had it over the top. Really, really lovely.
It's worked well, hasn't it?
Yeah, really, really well.
Fantastic. So look, we're not going to babble on about all of the gear, but all of the links are in the description if you want to check out what we have been wearing. Handling, how have you found the handling?
Yeah, the handling I've actually found really good, especially on some of these quite challenging roads. You are able to kind of sort of use your body a bit more, which I suppose is something quite new to me because I don't tend to use my body on my bike. I'm quite a big fan of sort of like counter steering and engine braking, and with that, you can really really do some body work and steering it around the corners and things. Once you kind of ease into that, I think you can get a lot of sort of enjoyment out of riding it like that, and obviously watching you ride as well.
Well, I think you know, I definitely think that the handling and the chassis and the suspension they've got sorted, and you know, they've obviously worked with Harris Performance to do all that stuff.
Right.
You know, which are a really, really famous company for suspension and chassis work. I'd probably argue with anybody that said it didn't handle well and said that the suspension wasn't sorted. For the type of bike it is, I think it's pretty planted. You know, it encourages you to get hustle on around corners. I found myself going around roundabouts quite a few times, and you know, just enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, you've been getting quite an angle on it actually, haven't you?
Well, a little bit, yeah. And I would say pretty good tyres as well. The tyres are the Pirelli Phantom Sport Comp. I've got no issues with them so far. As I say, I've ridden the bike pretty hard.
Yeah.
Only in the dry though. It hasn't rained this week, so
okay.
I've only been able to do it in the dry. Harris Performance again have handled the suspension. So up the front you've got a non-adjustable fork, but to be honest, I think it doesn't necessarily need to be. I think it fits the bike pretty well.
Yeah.
And then on the rear you've got twin gas shocks. Now that is adjustable. So if you're heavier or you are doing that tour and you're taking a load of luggage, you can crank that thing either way.
Yeah. The suspension's really good.
Isn't
really
it?
good, really smooth. Yeah, really, really nice. And actually,
there is a tool in the kit to actually change it as well, which is quite cool.
Right. Okay.
They've managed the suspension not only to be soft, but I think pretty planted mid corner. I think it works well. It doesn't buck around too much.
No.
It's good. And brakes obviously handled by a single disc, 320mm on the front.
Okay.
And rear is a 210, but rear brake is just they don't really do much anyway. But it's a nice
tight brake, but it's not one of those ones where you feel like you're going to fly over the front of the handlebars.
Yeah.
It's a good brake, but it's not. Yeah, I mean some of the bikes I've ridden are almost, you have to be very, very careful with them.
A bit too sharp.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of that. I mean, again, my bike, you sort of got everything crossed whether it's actually going to stop or not. But but that is, it's just enough without being too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Me on the other hand, I think it's got a little bit of initial bite. I think if I'm being honest, I'd prefer to see a bit more power in the brake.
Yeah.
Personally, you know, and we'll come on to the weight, but this is a heavy bike.
Yeah.
You know, 230 kilos. You know, and if the bike's capable of over 100 miles an hour, so you've got 230 kilo bike can go over 100 mile an hour. I think this kind of bike at that weight and that sort
Needs
of speed,
a bit more.
It needs twin discs.
Okay.
You know, and that's what I'd be looking for.
Yeah.
You know.
Again, but that's our different experiences. Me riding with next to nothing brake, and you probably got quite a sharp brake. So
Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. For me, it's an improvement.
Yeah, I mean, I think if if you're pootling around and doing the kind of stuff we're doing, it's fine. You know,
Yeah.
and the bike has been developed sort of with that in mind. But yeah, I think I'd love to see another disc on it.
Okay. So you warned me, didn't you, that on the phone that this is a heavy bike.
Yeah.
Before I got on it, and it's not. I mean, it is a heavy bike. I mean, compared to others, perhaps of other 650s, but I think it's more the distribution of the weight, isn't it? It's quite top heavy. I mean, I haven't found it difficult. And I haven't found that makes a difficult sort of. I haven't found that makes it overly difficult. But I can see maybe from a female's point of view, or maybe somebody that's newer to bikes, how that might be. It might just take a little of time to get used to that. I think once you are used to it, then once you're up and riding, it's absolutely fine. But parking up, reversing, it's just making sure you've got the right balance point all the time.
Sure.
Of it as well.
It sort of feels like we're picking on Royal Enfield for this, but actually, it probably the same thing applies to quite a lot of different bikes. It probably applies to Triumph quite a lot as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
When I test rode the Frux, and I found that was a lump of steel as
Yeah,
well.
and Harleys as well. They're
And
all
Harleys,
heavy.
I mean, your bike's made out of pig iron.
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's personal preference as well, I think.
is.
Some people like a
It is.
sturdy, solid feeling bike,
Yeah.
and they feel a bit more secure, and other people like things that are lighter.
And
so.
with that comes stability.
It does.
Yeah.
It doesn't move in the wind. We've had some wind today,
No.
and I felt very, very sort of stable on it. So.
Sure. Okay, look, so that is the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. I think we're both fans, actually.
Yeah, thumbs up,
Yeah.
definitely.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'd really encourage you to get down to your local Royal Enfield dealer and go and check it out.
Yeah.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I'm sure it's not for everybody,
Yeah.
but it's really fit what we've been doing. I think it's fun. And,
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, no, me too. And I think, especially if you've got nice roads to ride it on as well, it really helps as well.
Fantastic. So look, I hope you've enjoyed that. Please like, please comment, and please subscribe to the channel too, and we'll see you next time.